Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us at this time in the morning. And we know that it's not suitable for everyone. And I'm Denise, I'm from POTS UK. And I just want to say a massive thank you to Victoria, who's the yoga and breathwork teacher, who will be who will be running the sessions for you. There will be a chance for questions at the end of the session. And if you've got any questions during, please just put them in the chat box and we will try and answer them at the end of the session. So I'm now going to hand you over to Victoria. I'll turn my camera off. I'll hand you over to Victoria, who will tell you about herself. And hopefully you'll enjoy the next 45 minutes. Over to you, Victoria. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. So as Denise said, my name is Victoria, and I'm going to be hosting a 4-week journey to explore different tools and techniques that you can use to kind of tune into your body. So before I dive in, just a bit about me and why I'm running this. So after experiencing seizures and autonomic dysregulation when I was younger, I had quite a long journey to understand what was happening. Countless medical tests, visits to the hospital, but also other signs coming up like migraines, hypermobility, and just generally not being able to keep up with my friends and being really confused about it. And I was finally diagnosed with POTS. But because of this long journey, it led me down a really holistic path and approach to reconnect with my body, just because I wasn't getting that from kind of the medical field. And I was lucky enough not to be fainting on a daily basis. And I know that that's not the same for everyone. And I would have quite significant triggers, but I'd notice little symptoms coming in on a day-to-day basis. And these symptoms and the experience of having seizures really challenged my view and understanding of kind of how I existed, my level of safety within my body. When you're feeling dizzy, hearing sounds, heart palpitations, it was quite difficult to differentiate what was kind of normal and what was reality. Like sometimes I'd hear these sounds and I'd be like, is that reality? Or is that something kind of happening in my body? And so I was fascinated with the body, and I love kind of the science behind it. And I found it so interesting kind of diving into this and exploring yoga and breath work and how these really ancient practices and the wisdom behind them, modern science is catching up with them. And so I've trained in yoga, some neurobiomechanics, conscious connected breath work. I've really found it so incredible to understand what our body is really capable when we kind of listen in. And so I hope that the next kind of 4 weeks and the different tools will be useful to you. Some of them you might know already, and they might be quite simple, but also some of them might be quite challenging. And often it's the quieter kind of practices which are more challenging because they're really getting us to listen in and focus in. Because we're going to be exploring gentle somatic movements to almost increase our awareness of our body. But it's through that awareness that change can happen. And what I'm sharing isn't going to cure POTS. I'm not here to give medical advice, but hopefully it will provide some useful tools that you can play with, explore, see what works, see what doesn't. Again, change doesn't happen overnight. So the benefits are really seen when you build a habit and you stick to that practice and see how it kind of resonates in your body. But everyone is different. So what might work for you might not work for someone else. And one day it might be easy, the next day it will be difficult, but that's fine. It's kind of an ability to keep coming back to the practice and exploring and take what works and leave what doesn't. So I'm going to start by opening up the space, and we're just going to do a little bit of a meditation. So I encourage you to find a seat Now, if you can, sitting upright on your seat, so there's a bit of space between the support behind you, and you're finding this long spine. Obviously, I understand that some people might need that support, but can there be almost a soft elongation through the spine? And we're going to start by looking around the room. So, taking your eyes, looking behind you, above you, just taking in the colors, maybe the sounds. Maybe you can hear something happening in the distance or in another room. Just allowing you to really tune into kind of where you are. And then slowly coming back to center. If it feels comfortable, invite you to shut your eyes or lower your gaze. So for some people, you might not want to shut your eyes completely, I understand. But if you can, just having that kind of soft, low gaze, and this ability to turn our attention inwards, starting to sense into the ground below. So feeling your sit bones underneath, the contact of your skin against the chair, the weight of your body. And then from that sense of kind of ground, there's this soft elongation all the way up through the spine, all the way up through the back of the neck. There's an openness in the shoulders and the collarbones. And crown of the head drawing all the way up towards the space above. And then somewhere in the middle, you'll find your breath. And if it's possible, breathing through your nose here rather than your mouth. Not necessarily changing anything at this moment, but noticing how it's feeling today. Is it feeling quite tight? Is it feeling spacious? And where is it landing in your body? Do you feel it in your chest? Do you feel it in your belly? Allowing this soft observation on the mind to focus on this one thing. And if it ever feels too much, you can always open up your eyes slightly just to help yourself kind of be aware of the space around. But if not, keeping your eyes shut. And every time your mind starts to wander, can you bring it back to the breath? And the soft inhale and exhale. And just noticing how you're feeling today. Your body, is there any tension? Just sending your awareness to that. And then noticing what might be feeling good, even if that's your pinky toe. As small as it is, send your awareness to that space. Observe the qualities of what is feeling good and what color does that take up. And what's the texture? And almost like a light shining, can you imagine that kind of light getting it brighter and spreading through your whole body. Almost like rays of sunshine from one tiny corner in your body, lighting up the whole space within. Sense of warmth, really visualizing that light and color through your whole body. And slowly starting to open your eyes up, maybe just looking around the room. And just notice how that little visualization and that little tuning in may have affected kind of how you're feeling and your experience right now. And feel free to kind of pop on the chat one word of kind of how that's made you feel. And I think it's important to note again that sometimes this can feel uncomfortable. But the more we can come comfortable with kind of sitting in that, kind of the more ease we can give it over time. So hopefully that's a little bit of a grounding into the space. Yeah, it can feel sleepy. It's funny because our nervous system, I think we're always in this kind of go, go, go. And that's our parasympathetic nervous system, fight and flight. And actually, when we drop into our sympathetic nervous system, so our rest and digest, it's really important because that's really important for our things like our digestion. But there's so many different areas that our parasympathetic system and our rest and digest are important for, but it can feel sleepy because we're not used to being in that. So each week we're going to go through different focuses, and I'm going to talk through them, do a bit of an exercise, why I'm focusing on that. And this week it's going to be on grounding, and all of them are kind of based off themes from embodiment or somatic principles. And when I say grounding for this week, what do I mean? And for me, that's really about how I can anchor in moments of disorientation. Now, for POTS and fainting, this can feel like it happens a lot. There's so much going on in our surroundings and our bodies, especially when we're getting different symptoms of heart palpitation, temperature regulation, dizziness. It's different for everyone, but it can feel really challenging and like a lot. And is there a way that we can navigate these in a safe way? So our body has a tendency to jump to different conclusions based off past experiences or beliefs. And first of all, we need to meet that with compassion. So our body is the way that it is, and it's responding in the best way it knows. And it's trying to do what it thinks is best to keep us safe. And like you would with a friend, it's meeting your body as a friend with compassion and kindness, as it really responds to that. We're all energetic beings, and so it's kind of keeping that, not toxic, but like that positive attitude towards your body and kind attitude towards your body, as it really goes a long way. But often these things that our bodies have learned and the way they are isn't always that helpful. When you're experiencing symptoms that one leads to the other in quick succession, and it's going through kind of path of least resistance, and a big part of POTS, and where my kind of practice met my experience was finding a sense of safety in those moments when I was starting to feel kind of heart palpitations, and then kind of getting a bit nervous and then leading to dizziness, turning into fainting. It's all kind of like one thing after the other just happened very quickly and I couldn't control it. Um, but our body is fully connected. And whilst often we don't think that we have control, there is an opportunity to talk to it and create a bit of space between the stimulus, so that kind of initial symptom and kind of the end response. So I found this really helpful within my fainting, is kind of creating a space between the initial symptom of feeling, oh, I feel a bit disorientated, um, and actually kind of fainting. And whilst it might not necessarily stop something happening, it can ease the experience, or it can help reduce slight dizzy spells, or if you're just going around everyday life of, oh God, I'm feeling this symptom. How can I tune into my body and kind of give a bit of space so that it doesn't just lead directly onto like something straight away? And there are a couple of different tools that I'd like to kind of talk you through today, that I find really helpful. And one of them is visualization. This can be really helpful to help ground yourself in the moment. Also, the use of the breath, as well as the use of movement. Now, this doesn't need to be in a really kind of like energetic way, but these are all tools which are allowing us to explore our interoception. So that's kind of our awareness of our internal world. So I'm gonna kind of jump up and we're gonna do a bit of a movement visualization exercise together. Obviously, this can be done seated. So if you want to stay seated, please do. If not, if you'd like to kind of stand up. So hopefully you can hear and see me okay. And if you're seated, again, finding that space between the back of the chair and your spine, or finding a sense of elongation. And if you're standing, there can be a soft bend in the knees, an opening of the palms towards the space in front of you. And there's an openness of the collarbone. Taking a big breath in together. Exhale really slowly all the way out. We'll do that 3 times. Breath in through the nose. Exhale slowly all the way out. One more time. Breath in and breath out. And invite you to shut your eyes down again or lowering the gaze. We're going to drop our attention down towards our feet. Or if you're seating, this can either be with your feet on the ground or sensing into your sit bones against the seat below. And really try and bring your attention towards the feeling of your feet connecting with the temperature of the ground or in your shoes or socks. And actually, it can be really nice to take your shoes off if you can, in this moment, just to really connect to the ground below. Noticing the distribution of weight, either underneath your feet or through your sit bones. And on the exhale, it's almost like roots are growing down through your feet, down into the ground below. And then on the inhale, it's like the roots are gathering up energy, and that kind of nutrients are traveling all the way from the ground, all the way up through your feet and up through your legs. On the exhale, there's this rooting down And then, like roots of a tree, spreading wide through your feet into the ground below. This real sense of kind of tapping into visualization of this tree. In your body, this strong trunk. Inhale as you gather that nutrients all the way up through your trunk, through your legs, through your spine. And as exhale, this rooting all the way down into the ground below. So a sense of like two-way energy. Inhaling, gathering that energy up. Exhale, rooting down into the ground below. And in yoga, they call this kind of energy flow prana. And so you have different energy directions, that downward energy, which is apana vayu, and that upward energy, prana vayu. So all of these principles in this, our body on an energetic level, which has been known for thousands of years. Can we allow ourselves to tune into this? Again, if it feels too much at any point or you need to take a seat, you can either open your eyes or sit down, but can you do that with softness? And with that upward energy, it's this kind of elongation towards the sky above, almost like these branches reaching out. And downward energy rooting down to the ground below. The sense of stability in our body. And then really bringing our attention towards our breath, and we can use that to guide us. Inhale as that energy travels up through our body, bringing in the nutrients from the ground below. Exhale, we're releasing that energy all the way down towards the ground, down through our sit bones, down through our feet. Inhale, we're gathering that energy all the way up, growing long and tall into the space above. Exhale, we're releasing all of that energy down towards the ground. So we're using our breath here to help with this. Inhale, gathering the energy up. Exhale, releasing the energy down. And slowly opening up your eyes if they're not already. If you're standing, you can bring your feet a little bit wider, and you can do this action seated as well, as we're going to bring our palms all the way up towards the sky above. Your gaze can follow. And on your exhale, there's going to be this gathering down through center. Now imagine you're moving through mud or honey, so there's this texture to the movement. Inhale, it's like we're reaching and we're gathering the energy from all around us when we're feeling perhaps under-resourced. And on the exhale, it's like we're gathering and we're bringing it down through center, bringing it from sky down to our body. Inhale, our arms reach wide, gathering resource from around us. Exhale, there's this soft integration all the way down through our body. Soft bend in the knees. We'll do this 3 more times. Inhale, gathering energy from around. exhale, soft integration through our body. Inhale, it's almost like the branches of the tree going wide. Exhale as we kind of go through center, that really solid, beautiful foundation. One more time. Sense of moving through honey. There's a softness in the joints. Exhale all the way down. And bringing your palms out and just pause for a moment. Notice how you're feeling. And we're going to come into a bit of a balance. So you can use a wall to support you if you need. If you're seated, you could just try bring one leg up. But if you're standing, can you bring all of your weight into that right foot? And we're going to bring the left foot up slightly. And like that tree, we're really rooting down through that right side of our body to allow the left side to be open and spacious. And then we're going to lower the left hand down, the left foot down, and the right foot is going to rise up. Again, you can use something to support you if you need to be holding on to something. If you're seated, you can just be lifting one leg and the other, and just notice this kind of exchange or kind of energy from either side. Then we're just going to go on to the, do it one more time on either side. Notice how your breath can also kind of help you in this kind of potentially kind of imbalance. And how you can use that visualization of kind of your foot really rooting down at the same time as there's this quiet lift all the way up through your spine, crown of the head. And then both feet are going to land on the ground. You can bring your hands to your hips as a gentle circle of the hips, one way and then going the other way. Again, hands down by your side, just noticing where you're at. At any moment or any time, you can sit down or stay standing with me. And then we're going to start by doing a bit of shaking. So if this feels kind of quite a lot for you, and you can just do it with your hands like I'm doing here. And the idea is we're kind of just gathering a bit of energy in kind of an area of your body. So if it feels okay to kind of ramp up a bit, we're going to start moving our body in a bit more of a vigorous way. And I know this won't be possible for everyone, but just stay with, even if it's just your hands. If you're with me, creating a bit more energy, you can even make a sound. Just feeling energy move through your body. Shake, 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 shake. And then slowly coming to a pause. Either shutting the eyes or just lowering the gaze. Noticing how even that little bit of movement might have shifted something in your body. You might feel your heartbeat. But when you notice that tingling, can you send your attention into that part? Take a breath in, slow breath all the way out. And it's almost like you're using the breath to help that energy kind of dissipate and evaporate through your body. Inhale in and exhale all the way out. And it's almost like I like to use a visualization of a snow globe when you've shaken it up, and all of the snow is kind of falling down. It's all settling down towards the ground. And the snow traveling through your body down towards your feet. And the settling in the body. Either the use of the visualization or the breath here. And then opening your eyes up. You might just want to, where you have kind of moved your hands, you might still feel a bit of the tingles, and just giving them a little bit of a squeeze, a soft kind of signal that you're here. And then we're going to come back to a seated position. So those are just a couple of kind of quick tools that I actually practice on kind of a daily basis. And I think it's through the practice, it's kind of allowed me to tune into my body and where it's at. And also I find the shaking a really interesting one, because sometimes when you're really shaking, it can create those feelings which resemble feelings of anxiety or panic, and that's created through us moving. But actually, when we become aware of our kind of internal awareness or our interoception, we can use different tools to kind of navigate that in our body and see it not necessarily as a bad thing, but it's just energy moving through. And it's allowing our body to become more familiar with that, so that when other symptoms come up, these are different tools that we can kind of integrate in. And my teacher always says, that sense of interoceptive awareness helps us foster the embodiment, and fostering a sense of connection and agency and all-being, which collectively impacts how we relate in the world, which I thought was a really beautiful way of saying it. And I would love for, between kind of this week's session and next week's session, to ask you all to kind of practice either all three of them or one of them in this kind of time, and do it each day. And it can be for 5-10 minutes. It could be either first thing in the morning, and that's a really good way of building a habit, stacking it onto something else. So after you do your teeth, or for me, I make my cup of tea, and I always then go and do my meditation or sit down after that point. Or it could be just before bed. Or if you are kind of feeling symptoms or having kind of a bad day, in those moments, can you kind of tune in and either play with a sense of visualization, the roots going down through your sit bones or your feet, or playing with your breath. So it can be, something for you to play with, and then we can come together next week and discuss. And in terms of next week's focus, we're going to be looking at the breath and the importance of this, and kind of different ways that we can tap into it. So I hope that this has been useful. It might be things that you're already familiar with and you're already doing, but again, it's a nice reminder and a kind of a coming together in POTS Awareness Week, to just remind us of how capable our body is, even despite the confusion of like different symptoms, and our ability to connect with it as well. So I'd love to encourage any questions, if you want to pop them in the chat. If not, you can contact me on my Instagram, which I can put down.